Hello, my name is Peter Milton and I am the developer of TimeChainage. In this TimeChainage tutorial, we will look at activity codes, what they are and how to use them. Activity codes are extremely useful when developing a schedule. Like the WBS, they allow you to group, sort and filter by the structure you have in the code. And again, like the WBS, you can format the TimeChainage chart activity lines with specific colors, widths and styles for each code value. In TimeChainage, you can have up to 3 activity codes, so along with the WBS, you can have up to 4 different line styles for your charts. This allows you to create layouts showing different aspects of the project. Activity codes are most useful on large or complex projects. However, for demonstration purposes, we will use a very simple project. I have a project open, so let's take a look at what all this means. Let's first take a look at this project without the use of activity codes. This layout has just used the WBS to format the activity lines. If we open the WBS form by clicking on the WBS button on the toolbar, we can see the structure is based on the construction process for the structures. So for example, for the shafts we have values for sinking and finishing works. For the tunnels we have values for installing and removing the tunnel boring machine, driving the tunnel and secondary line in the tunnel. Now this is just how we want it for producing the TimeChainage chart of the project, and of course if this principle doesn't work for your project you can structure the WBS in any way you wish. We will now take a look at the print preview. So we will leave the WBS form using the close button on the toolbar. Then we go to the File menu and select Print Preview. Here we see what the output will look like for this layout when we print it, either to a paper copy or to a PDF. The activity lines reflect the colours and styles specified in the WBS form, and the legend shows the WBS structure. Now this is all good and maybe all you need from TimeChainage. What activity codes allow you to do though is to add additional categories of work, which then allows you to create new layouts showing the different aspects of the project. As an example, you could use one of the activity codes to structure the project by final usage. So instead of different line colours for shaft sinking and finishing works, you could have different colours for each shaft and its purpose. Or you could dedicate an activity code to resources. You could have values for the excavation gang, the concreting gang, the pipelaying gang, etc. And then show a layout of where your resources are throughout the project. You can filter using the activity codes. So you could, for example, use the WBS line colours and styles as in this layout, but use a filter based on an activity code to just show activities required for a particular milestone, or maybe just activities undertaken by a particular gang. Activity codes also give you more options for sorting and filtering in the data input forms. Let's add a new activity code. We do this in the activity code forms. We will leave the preview by clicking the close button. We access the activity code forms from the data menu. Here we see we can choose from 3 activity code forms. You can use just 1 or 2 or all 3 of them, and it doesn't matter what order you add them in. We will select activity code 1 for our example. The layout of this form is similar to other data input forms that we have in TimeChainage, in that there is a toolbar at the top, an input table in the middle, and a details panel at the bottom. In the toolbar there are buttons for adding and deleting activity code values, buttons for moving values up and down in the table. We can paste the contents of the table to the Windows clipboard, and we can copy the contents of the clipboard into the table. This is useful if you prefer to work in Excel, or if you want to copy the code values into another project. Bear in mind that if you use the paste command, make sure that the data is formatted exactly as the table here, and it's just the data without the headers. Also, pasting data into the table replaces any existing values. It does not add to the table. Finally, on the toolbar is the Close Form button. You can give the activity code a name. The name will appear in some other forms and dialogues instead of just activity code 1. The table contains the list of activity code values, and for each value you enter a description, line color, width, and style for both planned and actual activities. The last two columns are for information only. They let you know how many activities are allocated to each value. In this case, I have no actual tasks allocated to any of the code values, but I do have planned tasks allocated. Having this information is useful if you are considering changing a description or deleting a value. As you can see, for Shaft Gang 1, I have 18 planned activities allocated to it. If I now press the delete button, the software will not allow the code to be deleted, as the code is being used. If I still want to remove this code value, I will need to reallocate those 18 planned activities. Let's close the message. The Details panel at the bottom of the form provides information for the code value you have selected in the table. It tells you in words what the line and hatch styles are, rather than the ID values given in the table. You can enter data in either the table or the Details panel. Let's add a new code value. To enter a new value at the end of the table, simply click on the last row and either press the Add Value button on the toolbar or press the down arrow key on your keyboard. I will use the Add button. For a description, I will enter Road Gang. If you want to create layouts using the activity code, then choose a line, color, width and style, just like you would in the WBS form. I will select black for the planned color. The planned line width I will make 20 pixels to match the other values. The line style and hatch style I will leave as default. I don't have any actuals at the moment, so I will leave the default values. That's all the detail I need to add right now, but let's move the value up a couple of places in the table to just above the Structures Gang 1. We click anywhere in the row we want to move, then click on the up or down arrow button on the toolbar. We will click the up button twice. Now let's leave the form by using the close button on the toolbar. To make use of the new activity code, we need to allocate it to some activities. For this demonstration, I will only allocate it to some planned activities, but the process is exactly the same for actuals as well. Let's open the plan form. We can access it from the button on the toolbar. First, we select an activity that we want to allocate the code value to. In this case, it will be road construction activities. The first activity I want to allocate is ID 5. In the table, there are columns for the 3 activity codes. We are using activity code 1. To enter the value in the table, we would use the activity code value ID. At the moment, I don't know what that is. But if I look in the activity code section of the Details panel, we have the code names. The one we want is Gang, and against each code is a drop-down selection box. We click on the downward facing arrow to open the selection box, and we will select Road Gang. Going back to the table, we see the code value ID is 6. We can now enter this ID in the table for the other road construction tasks, these being activities 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 66. Okay, we have now added a new activity code value and allocated it to some planned activities. Now we can start using it. One use for activity codes is to filter items in our data input forms. So while we are in the plan form, we can run a filter to show just the tasks allocated to the road gang. On the toolbar, we go to the Activity Code 1 filter and click on the inverted arrow to open the drop-down list of code values. We find our road gang value and select it. Our table now shows just tasks allocated to the road gang. These filters do not apply to the TimeChainage chart, just the form we happen to be in. So let's go back to the main chart form and look at how activity codes can be used with a TimeChainage chart. We close the plan form using the Close button on the toolbar. There are two ways of using activity codes to change the look of the chart. One is with filters and the second is with line formatting. Let's look at filters first. To do this, we go to the Chart Filters dialog. We go to the Format menu and select Filters. Here we can create filters for the WBS and for activity codes. Let's create a filter to show just the road gang works. That will mean creating a filter for activity code 1. We create a new filter by going to the Activity Code 1 section and pressing the New button. We are presented with a list of all the Activity Code 1 values, and we can select one or more values to be shown. We just want the road gang, so I will select Show None. Then in the table, select Show for just the road gang. To filter out any future code values that I might add, I will select Hide by default. We will give the filter a name, Road Gang Works. Then to create the filter and close the dialog, we press the OK button. We make sure the Apply box is ticked, and then we exit the filter dialog by pressing the OK button. Now our chart just shows the road gang works. Let's add a layout for this view. To do that, we go to the Layouts dialog. First we go to the View menu and select Layouts. We press the Add New Layout button. We will give the layout a name, Road Gang Works. Then press OK. Then with the Roadworks layout selected, we press the Open Layout button. We now have a new layout showing just the roadworks. Let's now show the activity code line formatting. First, we will return to the overall plan layout. From the layout selection box in the toolbar, we select Overall Plan. Now we go to the Format menu and select Chart Setup. Then we open the Activities tab. In the Line Format section, we select Activity Code 1, which is our gangs code. We then press the OK button to close the dialog. We now have a chart formatted to show the separate gangs working on site. Let's have a look at the print preview. We go to the File menu and select Print Preview. The legend automatically shows the line formatting for the code selected, in this case Activity Code 1, which is gangs. As you can see, the road gang is shown in black. Let's leave the print preview and look at using activity codes in reports. To return to the main chart form, we press the Close button on the toolbar. TimeChainage has a number of built-in reports, and we can use activity codes to specify what data we want to use. All of the built-in reports are found in the Reports menu on the main form. Let's open the Progress versus Time report. This is probably the report you will use the most, as you can export data to Microsoft Excel to produce histograms and S-curves. In the Data Selection section, we can click on the Activity Code 1 button to open the filter dialog. Let's select just the road gang, then press OK. Then we uncheck the Apply to WBS and check the Apply to Activity Code 1. We will leave the data range on Auto. We will show just planned progress. We will show both period and cumulative data. And we will make the reporting period weekly. We can now export this report data to Excel. First, we press the Send to Clipboard button. Then we open Excel. We select a suitable cell and paste the data. We select all the data, including the header row. From the Insert menu, we select the chart type we want to use. In this case, I will choose Column Clustered Line on Secondary Axis. And voila, we have our histogram and S-curve. Let's go back to TimeChainage. I won't go through all of the reports here, but you can filter using the activity codes in all of the reports except the calendars report. There is a video that looks at all of the reports available in TimeChainage. Please view it if you are interested. Well, that's it for this video. In conclusion, make good use of activity codes, as they will help you when developing your schedule and also give you the flexibility to present the project in numerous ways. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful. TimeChainage, adding an extra dimension to your schedules.